Hey guys, I am really excited to review the book this week. It's called The Perfect Waters by Leisha McCoy. This book feels like a summer breeze or a drive in the fall with the windows down. It's comforting and easy and heartwarming. Honestly, with all the stress that comes with just existing, this was a balm that I didn't know I was looking for. The whole premise of this book is that the queen, or Odessa, must love as much as possible so that she can maintain the balance of the oceans. Side note, I am not a fan of these Disney reboots. They could all have been left alone. But since we're doing this, no matter how I feel, I'll take the good things that come with it. Namely, Black is King and The Little Mermaid with Halle Bailey that'll be coming out who knows when. I'm particularly excited to see a Black Mermaid. I know that Halle is going to be gorgeous and the ocean shots are going to be magnificent. That's one of the reasons why I was so excited when I came across this book. I don't often come across fantasy novels that are Black and also sweet. So this felt like a huge love letter to Black women and I adored it. Before we get into it, I really think that you should read this one before you listen because there will be spoilers. It has a bit of a mystery killer, whodunit kind of vibe. So if you haven't read it, go get it. You can click my link in the description and help support the channel at the same time. Moving on, let's start with the cover. The first time I read this book, I didn't even look at the cover for real. When I read the title, I was immediately clicking the download button. I'm always excited when I come across a paranormal fantasy that centers a Black woman, but then it's also written by a Black woman. I'm going to give it a shot. When I went back and looked at the cover, I got some of the same feelings I got from the book. Calmness, serenity, and beauty. The blues that the author has chosen, along with the pose of the woman on the cover, really give the vibe that she was going for. The only thing that I wanted was for her hair to have coils instead of being like this straight flowy texture, like really push the Black girl vibe over the top. So overall, I gave the cover a 4 out of 5. It was really nice. This book conveniently opens up with some world building, so we'll start there. In the mass oceanverse, there's one being that keeps it all going, and she is called the Odessa. These Odessas are pure beings that commune with aquatic creatures. She provides the magic and life that the entire kingdom needs to survive. The power is passed down to the firstborn daughter if and when the mother dies. Like most fantasy novels, the most important and life-giving being has been hunted and killed to near extinction, so chaos can reign. Therefore, the 4 Odessa lines have been whittled down to 1. Now, the reigning Odessa has been poisoned with contaminated kelp, the only thing that can kill an Odessa. Now, common sense will tell you that we should keep this supreme ruler as safe as possible. Only trusted people allowed around the Odessa. And that's exactly what they did, and she was still poisoned. Just like SZA said,
probably came from my inner circle and usually come from your inner circle or lack thereof, and I don't know who I can trust.
It's usually your inner circle or lack thereof. So we get to hear Omarilla's, the current Odessa's, final thoughts. We learn that the Odessa's power is fueled by her ability to love. Her consort consistently asked her what fueled her ginormous power because it wasn't their love. She had a baby with him so she could play it off like it was the love for that child. Actually, the depths of her power came from the love she had for her firstborn daughter. But when Omarilla came to shore, fell in love, and had a baby, she raised her for a while. But when Omarilla's mother died, she had to go back to the ocean to keep it alive. She left Asia, the land daughter, with her father without telling them why she left. So now Asia will come into her powers and mermaid body alone and without help. Omarilla's last thought is that she hopes Asia forgives her. So before we get started with the protagonist, The author goes full in on writing how some Black people actually talk to each other and interact, and it was something I didn't know I missed until I was through reading it. It's not crazy over the top like the gangster love stories, which I've never really been able to get into. The conversation flows and slang is actually African American vernacular, and I loved it. It took me back to my Midnight by Sister Soldier reading days. Anyway, the next chapter introduces us to our protagonist, Asia. Asia hates her job working in the biology department of a company. She's single, has a friend group that includes a married couple with kids that she cares about, and a few girlfriends. When she gets off, her friends are already calling her out, making sure she's going to be on time. She responds in a regular Black girl way and gets ready to Meg the Stallion. I was so psyched. I love the musician name drop. White authors be throwing all kinds of references in these books that I have no clue what it refers to, but I really felt like this one was for me. Then we meet our leading and only man, Prince Zale. Y'all know I love my reverse harems, but this is a traditional male-female, sweet, fall-in-love novel. He's an angsty prince who is being pushed into marrying soon. His parents have set him up on another blind date, and Zale is exhausted with the process. We see Zale and the date feel the death of Omarilla, and then we switch back to Asia. We find Asia on the beach, good and drunk, staring at the water. Asia and her on-again, off-again man decide to have beach sex. Questionable decisions for sure, but the ocean water touches her feet and her vagina kicks him out and closes up. Asia is rightfully freaked out, thinks someone drugged her, and leaves. She gets an Uber and passes out when she gets home. Under the sea, Zale swims to meet his dad. Everyone is in a tizzy since the last time an Odessa was killed, the ocean almost died. Now the second daughter's name is Daria, and no one knows that Daria is not Omarilla's firstborn, therefore not the heir to the Odessa powers. Zale feels a tug in his chest to go up to the surface, but he's confused since Daria is the only known daughter. This feels like a good time to discuss the social hierarchy. There's the Odessa at the very top. She's basically their living deity. And then you have royal families that have strong magic that the Odessa gifts them so that they can rule the day-to-day management of the ocean kingdoms all over the world. Now, in return for this power, they are also marked by magic. Their markings display their inner heart. If you are loyal, you get a particular mark. If you do something detrimental to the oceans, there are marks for that as well. So it's very easy to know if royalty are trash or not. That would be really awesome to have now in real life. Only royalty have markings. The common mermaid does not have any access to the advanced magic, therefore no markings. Now, a royal family member always feels the pull of the next Odessa to identify, protect, and deliver her to the priestess well to complete the magical Odessa ceremony, her getting her new lover, and all that jazz. Zale thinks that this is the pull that he feels, but argues himself down, believing that they would know if Omarilla had a child on shore, since that is such a huge deal, and she would have needed to be protected from birth and all that. But alas, he ignores that intuition. The worst decisions are made when you ignore it. We bounce back to Asia, who wakes up and realizes that these changes are real and probably permanent. She has a flashback, remembering when her mom collapsed in pain, gaining markings, and now looking in the mirror, she has the same markings. 3 swirls with lines that kind of join, and symbols and dots on both temples. She also has some physical changes, including blue eyes, hip slits, and the vagina slit, along with an intolerance to impure water and everything in her fridge. Her phone rings with her getting chewed out by her friends for just dipping the night before, and I also felt attacked. Just saying. Asia responds to the group chat and then heads out to try to find something she can tolerate eating. Back in the water, Daria shows up and has 0 markings. This pushes Zale's dad to round up the family and demand answers. Zale steps up, admits that he feels the pull, but hesitated since Daria was thought to be the heir. We learn that the witches, the beings who kept murdering the Odessas, will have sent their best assassin, Calder, to kill the new Odessa. So Zale, along with his 2 trusty guards, who are also his friends, set off to shore to save Asia and bring her into the ocean before Calder can get to her. 2 days later, Asia comes to a shaky acceptance of what is happening and keeps living her life. She heads to her friend's barbecue, covering up the markings as much as possible with makeup and clothes. While claiming some raw prawns to eat, she notices the same eel that was in the vision she had of her mother dying. The eel gives her a recorded message from her mother, apologizing for leaving her, dying, and leaving her a legacy she knows nothing about. Most importantly, she tells Asia to run. 2 people are coming for her, one to kill, one to help. Just like the black girl she is, she trusts the message and goes on the run immediately. Now we get to see Calder, Assassin Sea Hound. He's found Asia. She stayed ahead of him for a while, but now that he's caught up to her, he has to take her out. While she's getting her 3 hours of sleep, he injects her with contaminated kelp. It's supposed to kill her instantly, but since she's half human, she doesn't dissipate. She starts shivering. Calder feels Zale coming fast behind him. He's caught off guard. The witches were looking to pay for an assassination. After going through his options, he decides to just stab her in the stomach and make a break for it before Zale and his boys kill him. Asia feels herself dying as Calder leaves. She hears her mother telling her to hold on just a little longer. She thinks about the last conversation she had with her dad, lying to him because he was concerned about her. She feels the sadness of the waters, mourning her mother's death. Zale and the guys come in, and Asia recognizes the scent from a few states back. She remembers her mother's warning about the markings. We switch to Zale's point of view. They pull up, see Asia, get her, and drive to the nearest Ulus. They hope to get her to the well priestess as quickly as possible so she can be healed. The whole time, Zale admires how beautiful she is. Her skin is dark and flawless. She has long, coily hair and beautiful blue ocean eyes. She's also thick, unlike most native mermaids. Frequently, Zale censors how he thinks about Asia, noting the respect she deserves as the Odessa. This character building really sets Zale up as being honorable and dependable. They make it to the water and Zale coaxes Asia's gills open and activates her fin. They race to the blue whale priestess, Nolani. Priestess Nolani lives in Yonaguni. It is sacred waters, home to healers, and where all laws are written into shell. Usually an Odessa chooses a mate from among Nolani's healers, but Zale is intensely drawn to Asia. As Nolani heals Asia, she sees Zale's attachment to Asia and decides to assign Zale to her. Zale questions this, knowing the law against it. Nolani reminds him that she can write and unwrite laws as she sees fit. She sees that he has the purest heart in the sea and he's already endeared himself to Asia. Zale relents, vowing to do his best to protect and teach Asia about the waters. They travel to Zale's father's place to announce Oasia to the waters. Asia's still knocked out. They lay her in a room and Zale goes with his father to confirm Asia's existence to Daria. Daria seems to take the confession really well and Zale keeps everything at arm's length, knowing that only someone close to the previous Odessa could have slipped her the contaminated kelp, so everyone is suspect. Oasia wakes up, calls out for Zale telepathically, and he rushes back to her side. Back to Oasia's point of view. She marvels at her new mermaid body. Along with the silver markings, she has a beautiful bright pink tail that shimmers. She tests out her sonar powers and hears the ocean's prayers for the Odessa to get better. She also tests out the telepathy. And when Zale answers and comes, we get our first real meeting with these two. And it's just as swoony as everything else. Oasia is stunned by how gorgeous Zale is. Dark skin, swirling golden markings, and a platinum tail on top of him being massive basketball player size, has Oasia stunned. She bows to him and he immediately pulls her up, telling her that she's basically all life in the ocean, so she's never to bow to anyone. And then he kneels to her. It's a really sweet scene, and I can't help but give dreamy eyes the whole time. Oasia meets Zale's parents and sister. His father tells Oasia that she probably has a week to learn her magic to save the waters. Big pressure. Oasia learns that Zale will be traveling with her to her mother's kingdom in Mira, alleviating some fear. Zale tells her not to worry, and they leave for Mira. When they arrive in her mother's kingdom, Oasia goes to her mother's room and begins to grieve. Zale can't help but offer comfort, and Zale notices the start of hair that he knows is going to be his mark for Oasia. He's still struggling with his previously forbidden feelings. The author then does some very nice world building, giving background on the Emperor's, Zale's dad, and his brother's relationship. They have been at odds for almost 500 years. Omarilla sent the Emperor an eel beseeching him to reach out to his brother for the sake of the kingdom. All four of them, the Emperor, his brother, Nolani, and Oasia, must be there to break the shell that will allow Oasia and Zale to be together. Bouncing back to Oasia, we see her make her way to the coral to give them magic. She can sense how weak they are and is compelled to help. She links to all the life in the waters and the sky, and her sorcery is still too weak to feel the water's needs. The imagery in this scene was so beautiful. I really hope the new Little Mermaid gives me the same feels from seeing all the colorful fish. The scene ends with Oasia thinking about the law forbidding her and Zale, but vowing to do whatever it takes to love. We bounce to Calder. Calder discusses his payment with the last of the witches, and after some back and forth, they pay him and he leaves. Zale encourages Oasia to eat, and she encourages him to eat as well. She asks a few questions about how their bodies work, and Zale tells her to get some rest and that he'll be next door. Once Oasia wakes up, she heads out with Zale to eat breakfast in her seafood garden. While doing their flirting, Oasia's gills light up. She asks Zale what that means and learns that they glow to show her arousal. The waters be keeping people real honest. When they finish eating, Zale cleans up and they begin working on Oasia learning her sorcery. Oasia struggles to change her fins into human legs because she's overthinking it, although she's easily mastered telepathy. This section of the book does some really nice relationship building between the two. When we move on to the estranged brother King Sira, we find out why the law forbidding Odysseus to be with royalty was made. Sira was drunk one night and insisted on betting for the control of a kingdom against his brother. Nolani warned him not to do it, but he insisted and did it anyway. Nolani gave him a mark of shame and banished him to the land with the least amount of resources until he learned his lesson. The Omarilla, the reigning Odessa at the time, shunned him as well, and it was written into law that no Odessa and royalty shall be together. Now, Zale's father has written to him, asking him to forget the past and come together to help the nephew that he loves, and saving the waters by allowing the two to be together. Sira talks to his wife, vowing to put away his pride and reconcile with his brother. His mark of shame has long been gone, but his pride kept him away. But now that his nephew needs him, he'll do whatever it takes to help. Zale takes Oasia on a date to a colorful cavern, and they kiss, and she is able to transform her fin into legs. Zale explains that if she masters it today, they can go up on shore and pick up the stuff she wants from her apartment and tie up some loose ends. Zale drops Asia back off at her room and goes to talk to his main two guards. He shows them the marking of Oasia starting to take recognizable form on his chest and vow to help him with the other guards until he can get the law unshelled the next day. When Oasia wakes up, there's another steamy kiss, and Zale's marking is more obvious than ever. Oasia implores Zale to go ask his dad what will happen if the guards find out about his mark. Zale talks to his dad and finds out that if anyone finds out he's breaking the law, he will be killed on sight. They all plan to have the shell broken the next day. Zale manages to make it back to Mira without incident. As soon as he gets back, Oasia reaches out and confirms that he is okay. Zale encourages her to get some sleep since they will be heading to land first thing in the morning. Zale and Oasia make it to land and pick up their things. Back in Yonaguni, the priestess whale, Emperor, and his brother discuss the visions that led to Oasia's birth. Basically, the priestess and Omarilla realize that a half-human Odessa will be able to survive contaminated kelp. So when Omarilla wanted to go to land when she was young, the priestess supported it and the secret of Oasia. But now they must get rid of the law or Zale will be killed by the guards. They each put a crack in the shell to dismantle the law, but they still need Oasia for it to break permanently. Oasia sees the guards when they get back to the water. She sends Zale ahead of her so the guards won't see his marking of her. However, the waters know that Oasia loves Zale and will give him away. Oasia puts the final crack in the shell, breaking it, and the priestess rushes her to go save Zale before the Mira guards kill him. The book ends with the guards rushing to attack Zale. Oasia arrives, pushes the guards back with her water, and protects Zale with her body while she announces to the waters that the law is broken. I really love this book. Like I said, it just felt like a big hug for Black women. Both the protagonists are dark-skinned and he has the utmost respect for her. Their connection was really beautiful and their love story feels natural and sweet. I really enjoyed this series as a whole, and really it was just a breath of fresh air. I'm all for Black women getting unconditional love and support, and there's no shortage of it in this book. On to the ratings. For readability and plot development, I would definitely give them both a 5 out of 5. The story flows and moves well. I already gushed over how much I love the main characters. Between the respect he had for her and the sweet disposition she had throughout, I can't give character development anything other than a 5 out of 5. Sometimes characters have these big ups and downs that people really associate with character development, but I think one of the best character traits, especially in real life, is to be stable and dependable, and their characters just felt right. I rated the cover a 4 out of 5 earlier, so The Perfect Waters will get an overall 4.75 out of 5. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to get the book through my link in the description box. Subscribe and like if you enjoyed this content, and let me know in the comments if you think this book was way too sweet for you or just right. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.